How's it now? Can you guys hear me? You guys good on YouTube? YouTube, are you guys okay? Can you guys hear me now? It's showing audio. Okay, cool. All right. I'm so sorry about that, YouTube. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for waiting, everybody in the webinar. So I have this going on in 2 places. I've got the webinar going on Zoom, and then I've got YouTube. So I'm sorry, I'm running 2 programs, and the audio got all messed up in one of my programs. So I apologize to that. So thanks so much for jumping in, everybody. What I was just saying is, gosh, what was I saying? If you guys have questions, I'll be checking back and forth. So this is going to be a relatively quicker or smaller training than Fridays, which was 3.5 hours. This is going to be about 15, 20 minutes of actual training of how I search and look for land in this new different way that I don't think a lot of people are familiar with. If you stuck around to like the 3.5 hour mark in the last session, you probably know what I'm talking about. But towards the end, the big thing is that I want to answer a bunch of questions because I had over 100 questions left over from Friday's webinar, and I want to address some of those because, first of all, I got tons of emails, and this is honestly a lot of fun for me, so it's a little bit selfish for me too. So let's dive right into it. I am going to share my screen here with you, so be patient. I got to do it with 2 programs. So I'm going to share my screen here. And then so Zoom can see my screen, and then now I need to make it so YouTube can see my screen. All right. Okay. I hope everybody can see my screen right now. YouTube, if you cannot, if you go over to kaiandrew.com, you click on that button for the webinar, you'll be able to jump straight into the Zoom, and you'll be able to see everything, okay? Otherwise, you can hear my voice. I'll do my best to try to do this. If it doesn't work out, I'm going to read through your comments, all the hate, but I'm sorry. I apologize ahead of time. I'll try to get this figured out by tomorrow's webinar. Okay, so a new way to search for land. Now, before we dive right into it, I want to let you guys know that this is what the rest of the week is going to look like. So tomorrow, Tuesday, the fastest and cheapest way to get land, as you guys know, some of you, maybe not all of you, is that I am currently going into contract for 267 acres, and it is by far the fastest deal I've ever gotten into, as well as $0 out of my pocket. We'll be digging into that tomorrow. And then Wednesday, with rentals is one big question. Should you go really big, go all in, like build that awesome experience, start racking up that $400, $500, $600 a night, or should you start small and start to build out from there? And then Thursday, fastest way to make $100K with property, right? I have to make that with property. It's not Bitcoin or anything like that, but around land hacking more specifically. And then Friday, which is the last day of the enrollment phase or the enrollment period for the Land Hacker program, is how to manage things remotely. Now, all of these are full-blown sections within the program itself. And today we are just going to be touching on them as much as we can within a 15-minute period, or not all of them, but we're going to be focusing on one, a new way to search for land, for about 15, 20 minutes, and then I'm going to open it up for Q&A, and then let us all kind of mingle and hang out. And then right before we get into it, I want to let you guys know, I did send this to the email that if you did miss out on the previous discount, everybody coming in this week will be able to use a promo code, but it's going to go down as we close up the seats, or not just close up the seats, as seats get taken and days go by closer and closer, the discounts are going to be less and less. Now, if you guys go today, it's going to be $125 off, and all the 60-minute sessions are gone, all the 45-minute sessions are gone, but if you do sign up today, this expires tonight, right after this at midnight. I'm also opening up, the first 5 to sign up will get a 25-minute one-on-one strategies consultation with me after the program. So you can tie everything up in a nice, neat bow, and then we can go over your plan, okay? We'll talk more about this later on, but just want to let you guys know up front here that we'll be discussing more about the program towards the end, and this is only for you folks that are in and watching this right now. Okay, So how do we search for land? There's a couple of different ways that we do it. The traditional way is Zillow, Redfin, that type of stuff, right? A lot of people also use AirDNA. You know, you start looking and you can start seeing clusters. Let me change this into a laser pointer. You can start seeing clusters, and folks make decisions off of where they see Airbnbs or where they don't see Airbnbs or rentals, right? This is not a bad idea. Now, keep in mind, we're focusing on just one aspect of land hacking, which is rentals, because it's the fastest way, or I shouldn't say the easiest way. It's one of the fastest ways to make a lot of cash flow and equity, and it's relatively easy to get into, okay? So with that said, AirDNA is a popular thing, and it is that the only problem with it is that it's expensive. If you guys can see that this highlighted area, I'm sorry, this is a screenshot, it's not actually AirDNA. Each time you move the cursor around, it's gonna highlight a new space. And when you highlight a new space, that's called the new, what do they call it, market area, and it costs anywhere from $20 a month to $100 a month. So if you just wanted to study or research this general area, you're talking about bare minimum $100 a month to probably several $100s a month just to research the area. I don't like paying that amount of money. I definitely don't like my students or my clients spending that amount of money on a monthly basis just to do basic research that I think that we can do a better job. So anyways, this is one way. I'd spend a bunch of time going over the numbers and how we really dig deeper into this. Great tool, but not the best way, okay? The second way is using Google Maps. I love using Google Maps. Google Maps is a great way to not just find and create your golden triangle, but it's great to see where people are traveling to and where they're going. And this is another space where we could probably spend a whole hour in how I utilize this to strategize around where do I pick my properties and when to break my rules. And this tomorrow when we talk about it, you guys will see why I broke two of my rules, one of my golden triangle rules, and one's another one that I'll discuss in tomorrow's webinar. Okay, and then the last one that, again, oh shoot, did I do it twice? Sorry. Nope, I didn't. Okay, so the last one is Zillow. Zillow, Redfin, Realtor, whatever you decide to use, is how people generally search for properties, right? You look for land size, price, obviously, the type of home, and then the general area. And this is really cool because this function right here, again, this is a screenshot, otherwise I'd click on it. This function right here is the draw function. And this will allow you to draw around counties or specific landmarks, attractions, bodies of water, or anything like that that you want to search for, and you can save it. And so whenever a new home or a new listing pops up, it automatically emails you, and you can basically have, not first dibs, but you get an alert when something comes online and into the market, okay? Very cool, awesome. Zillow, Redfin, Realtor, whatever you use, but it's limiting because it's only properties on the market, okay? In comes batch leads. Batchleads.io right now, if you guys go pull up another window, pull it up. It's batchleads.io/Kai. You guys don't have to do that, but if you guys use my name and my promo code, I get like, honestly, it's not that much. I get like $4 or $5 if you sign up. But the reason why I want you guys to use mine is not because I make $4 or $5. It's because there's an option there where you get a 7-day free trial. I get nothing for that, okay? You guys don't even have to sign up. But the 7-day free trial is important because it gives you, and we'll talk more about this in a second, it'll give you 5,000, I think they call it listings. We'll talk about that here in a second. But this program or this app doesn't normally give free trials. The only way for me to get it, to give my students and my clients and my viewers a free trial, was to be an affiliate. And so they set up a whole link and everything for me. And so please take advantage of it. I'm not telling you what to do, but if the 7 days goes up and you use a different email address, maybe you can extend that 7-day free trial. Don't tell them I told you to do that though, okay? If you do decide to take a month, you can also get 50% off any subscription if you use Kai as your promo code, okay? And then that's when I get the $5. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of the PowerPoint now because I'm gonna take us over to Batch Leads. I'm gonna show you how to use it and why it's so powerful. It's probably one of the most powerful tools I've used. Okay, so let's get out of this. And then I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to start sharing this screen. Again, bear with me. I am using Zoom and also trying to deal with YouTube here. Okay. I don't know why. Hang on, YouTube. I don't know why this screen is all jacked up. Huh. Hey, YouTube, is it? Oh, shoot. It is. It's all zoomed in, isn't it? I'm sorry. All right, so YouTube, if you guys want to stick around, jump over to the Zoom because then you'll be able to see it much, much better. I'm not sure what's going on with OBS. I am going to be playing with it tonight to make sure that it's way better tomorrow. So I apologize to everybody inside YouTube right now, okay? But I want to keep this going. So jump over to my webinar on Zoom. It's just go to kaiandrew.com, click on that, and you'll be able to jump straight in. All right, so I am going to open this up, and if you guys want to follow me on YouTube, you guys can just listen to me, and I'll do my best to describe everything, okay? All right, so once you get into Batchly, it's going to look something like this. And if you just go get started today, you guys don't have to do this right now. Oh, shoot, I'm logged in. You just need to fill out your information, put in my promo code, and then you'll be able to get in. Now, I have the unlimited version, so I can show you guys what I'm doing. But essentially, what it is, it's a wholesaling app. And listen, I've been doing this for, I think I counted yesterday, or Friday. It was like 15, 16 years. And I have always been searching for a good app or program that can allow me to find properties faster, easier. And so I have my spiderweb method with real estate agents. I have all my techniques with Zillow and Redfin and all that stuff. And I have been searching for something like this literally for years. And this completely stumbled across my lap in the last probably 3 months. A student brought it to me. And what it is, it's a wholesaling app. And so if you guys don't know what wholesaling is, real brief description of it is essentially where people, they go and cold call or just basically send out mailers. If you own a home, you ever get like a text message or a postcard that says like, hey, we're interested in buying your house. We'll buy it cash, right? Those are wholesalers. They basically find the homes that have a lot of equity built up in it. And they also find the owners who may not be in the best financial position, might be going through a divorce or something like that, and they give them an offer. Now, they don't actually buy the house. All they do is they set up the deal, and then they sell it off to an investor like someone like myself. And then they take a little bit of a cut in the middle. Sometimes it's $5,000, sometimes it's $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. It just depends on how good the deal is. Now, they need sites like this because it allows you to find and search for all properties that are both on the MLS, that are listed, and off the MLS. And that's what's really interesting for us. And this is why it's so powerful, is because if you go over here, if you're following along, I'm trying to give you guys some time to sign up if you guys want to sign up. And you go over to list search, and let's say that you just type in, well, I was already searching, let's do Asheville, North Carolina. I like Asheville, North Carolina. And that 5,000 I was telling you before you start searching, you don't want to burn it up because the number of searches that you get pulls from that, and you have to buy more. So I think they give you 5,000 free, but we can limit that quite a bit here in a second. So you can buy 5,000, 10,000, so on and so forth, but play with the filters in the free version first before you go out and spend money if you decide to use it. So the reason why this is so powerful is similar to Zillow. This is all across the United States, and we can do a boundary, which means even though this is Asheville, but let's say that I want to get over here closer, and I know YouTube, I'm sorry, you guys can't see this super well. I don't want to troubleshoot the tech right now, but I'll fix it tomorrow for sure. But let's say that I want to search this area over here too. I don't want anything outside this area because this is my golden triangles. I like this area. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to search in this area. And what I'm going to do is the next thing is, you can see everything pops up there, is I'm going to my filter. Now, this is the part that I really like. There's actually two more parts that I really like, but this is one of the areas that I especially like. If you go to classifications, look at what we can start searching by right? Now that's nothing new. You can do this with LoopNet. You can do this with, can't do it with Zillow, but I think LoopNet, you can do it with LandWatch, is you can start doing by different classifications of properties, right? So I'm going to do recreational based on what we're usually discussing. Also commercial, right? And then agricultural. Now that seems pretty basic. Now if we want to get into it way more, we can obviously put in the bedrooms and bathrooms and all that stuff. But check this out under properties or property types. We scroll down and look how narrow this search gets us. Okay? Now we keep going down here. No, I know you YouTubers can't see it. Sorry. But basically it's reading off like parking garage, parking lots, hotel resorts, hotel motel, commercial building mall, commercial building office. But we're going to get down to a point where, here in a second, recreational entertainment, recreation center. And then we're going to get into, there it is, campgrounds or RV parks. Parks, playgrounds, and picnics. Agricultural, rural, farm, and orchard vineyards. Okay, so I'm not sure. I don't think I've searched this specific area yet with these types, so we might not hit anything. We'll see. But the reason why this is so powerful, because if you guys watch my zoning video or you guys understand how zoning works, once you understand the type of land that you're looking for in specific zoning districts, so let's make believe that we know that orchards and vineyards falls into the zoning districts that we want. Now we can search just for those areas. Okay, there's no other platform that I've found that allows you to do this. Okay, now it's not. Let me put this out there. This is not going to be 100%. This data is all over the board. Like I said, 3,006 counties. They all have their own rules. They all have their own way of doing things. There's no set standard here across the United States. So it's going to be hit or miss, but from what I've seen, it is actually fairly accurate, okay? Now, the other really cool thing is you can see all these other pluses right down here down left. I'm showing on YouTube, I'm showing them the different options that you can filter and search by. And this MLS status. So you can search for anything that's just on the market, off the market, or both. And so we're going to do both. And then down here, we'll get into another technique here in a little bit once we get past this part. So we're going to search, fingers crossed, let's see, hopefully they find something, so we have to research. Okay, good, they found stuff. So in this area, they found 80. And so the reason why I said to wait and make sure you filter everything first is that you don't want to burn up all of your listings that you have, which is you start at 5,000 with your free. I think the first tier is maybe 10,000 listings that you get in a month. Anyways, what you see now is basically what you've seen or what you can see in Zillow. And I'll try to scroll this map over a little bit for the YouTubers. And off here to the side, not only can you see the location, but now we can start searching for the properties that falls into our criteria that we know we're looking for, instead of just this smattering of every type of property on Zillow or Redfin or Realtor, and you just don't know. It's like you might find the perfect property. Like today, I just had a client call, and they have 21 acres, and it's zone residential 1, which is hands down probably one of the worst zonings that you can get, right? Now we don't have to deal with that. We know that we're not, or we shouldn't, have very many, if any, residential zones in our search. And so now we can look through these properties in the zoning districts. And if you want to narrow it even more, you can even pick specific acreage, the size of home that you want, the year it was built, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, all of that stuff, okay? Now when you dig in here, you can, obviously I like to go up and down the picture side and just see what's available. And then also you can go based off of the location on the map. And so over here, I know this is Asheville and I know this is Smoky Mountains. Like I love this spot right here because it's between two very good spots, right? I'm just trying to find the right piece of land now. I also know that there's an entryway into the national park right here. And so this is an area that I know that I would really like to be in, again, Golden Triangle. Is that I can find some good spots. So I'm going to be looking at this. So let's take a look at this one. I'm going to go to view data or details. And in here, what you'll see is, hopefully Dennis Moody won't blow us up, is it shows you can't see on YouTube, sorry guys and gals, is that it shows you who the owner is. Now this is going to be very, very important here in a second. Okay, I'll talk about that in a minute. This is off market, and the zoning is, so this is interesting. This is very interesting. We don't know what the zoning is, boo, but it's a hotel motel, okay? So it's a commercial, so okay, actually I can tell you what the zoning is. It's commercial zoning. And so if this has that classification, and you know what you want to do falls into this, now we know that there's this property here, right? Normally this wouldn't even show up on LoopNet or Zillow or any, well, definitely wouldn't show up on Zillow, but it wouldn't show up anywhere else unless they decide to advertise and list it. Now let's say that my strategy is to basically tear down the hotel motel or to convert it into something and then make a glamp site or an RV trailer park, which would fall under most commercial uses. And this isn't listed. Well, this program or this app allows you to go and pull the phone number, the address. This is their actual tax address. So you can send them a mailer, like literally a handwritten note, or you can just send out a bunch of postcards and then send it out that are already pre-printed. And you can send them an offer. Now, your offer can range anywhere from like a lease and hack model where you want to lease it. You can talk about a rent to buy or lease to own or to seller finance, or even you buy it outright from them. Because it's a cold call, you can basically approach them with anything and everything. Now, the really, really cool thing is that you can do this all through this program, and you can do it literally thousands of times. And then you just wait for your phone to text or beep or whatever to get a message back from somebody. And so it's not like this one-to-one basis where right now I have to pick up a phone, call the real estate agent, or call this property owner and see if they want to deal with me. I can just mass send it out. That's really cool. It's super cool. This is, again, it's meant for wholesalers, but we can use it to our advantage to find property in the areas and zoning districts that's totally different from anybody else. So now when you want to start looking for the information for the individual, for one, if you want to just mail them something, you have the tax mailing address right here. And then you obviously know the name of the current owner. Now, this is the really interesting thing, and we're getting into a deeper analysis here, more of the strategy side. And anybody who's sticking around right now, this is you're getting this, okay? So we know the market value and the assessed value. We also know, oh shoot, it usually tells how much. So this one, they do not have a mortgage on it, okay? So all the mortgage and debt is usually right here. And what I found is if they don't have mortgage or debt, they own it outright, it's basically NA, not available. And so what this tells us is that they have all this equity built up in here, okay? And so if they have a bunch of equity built up and they're looking to get out of the business, they're more likely to sell it. You guys get what I'm saying? Versus if somebody had a bunch of like debt on it or something and there's no equity to be made, then they probably won't sell it to you. They probably definitely won't sell it for you to you at a discount because they have so much debt tied up into it. And so there's actually parts where you can do deeper research. I'm trying to find it here because I haven't played with this part of it as much. Is you can do a deeper research on the demographics of the actual owner, and this will actually pop up where you can search by the owner's age, by their income, by their financial status, even if they're in the court system or not for like divorces or anything like that. Now, I didn't know any of this existed. This again all came to me relatively not too long ago. And so I guess that's how wholesalers find business, is they find people's pain points and then they reach out to them and try to set up a win-win situation with them. Again, you can use that as you will. I'm going to use this to find the properties that I'm really liking in the areas and the zoning districts that I want. And it gives me this whole level or other level of search function that Zillow just and realtors and or realtor.com or Redfin does not allow me. Even zoning maps won't tell me, right? So that's it. Batchleads.io. Give it a go, play with it, and see what you guys think. Let me see if you guys have any questions about that because I couldn't see the chat window. So let me see here. I'm gonna switch this back so you guys just don't see. There you go, YouTube. Hi. So super sorry about that, YouTube. I will figure that out, I promise, okay? All right, so let's see. If you guys have questions about batch leads, let me know. Whoa, it blew up here in the webinar. Hey, everybody, you guys must have came over from YouTube. Okay, all the YouTube audience there are complaining. Yeah, sorry, I don't know what was happening. The ratio is messed up. Okay. Yep, Colton, you're right. You can always get, a lot of people, they get kind of messed up with the GIS map. One of my main ways of finding properties before coming across batch leads is to use what Colton just said, is use GIS map. So let's say that you're in Lincoln County. If you type in Lincoln County GIS map, it will bring up typically an interactive map. The problem is that there's different platforms for counties to hold their maps of their county or their area, and they don't always do the best job of updating it, putting the zoning into it and all that stuff. And so usually for me, very broad stroke, it's a hit or miss, like 6, maybe 7 out of 10 times you can get the map, and then 3 to 4 times you're just kind of like, you're out of luck. And so, but GIS is a great place for all the county data. What I'm trying to do though is I want to search just by, for example, I love agricultural land, and I love farmland. And so if I just want to search for those two, I want to be able to search for that in an area, regardless of the county that it's in. Okay, that's for later. And GIS maps won't allow you to do that because they're so pinpointed on just one county. All right. Well, that's pretty much it. Let me see if I have anything else. Okay, yeah, let me jump over this. We're going to get into Q&A here in a second. So again, everybody in YouTube, well, actually, you guys can ask me on YouTube because I'm not sharing my, well, actually, I am about to share my screen here. Sorry, YouTube. If you guys want to, jump over to my webinar, kaiandrew.com, click on that red button. It'll pop you right in. But let me share this screen with you one more time, and then and then we'll jump into Q&A, okay? Share and go. Okay. So the last thing here is, again, anybody who's just jumping in, batchleads.io//Kai, type in Kai. You get the free 7-day trial. They normally do not even give a trial. Just use that for that. If you guys do decide to sign up, I get like $4.55. It's not that much. I don't really even care about that. I only had to set that up to get you the free trial. And I'm not telling you to do this. Do not do this. Wink. If you set up multiple different emails, you can continue to using that 7-day free trial as you figure out the system. Okay. With that said, this week is the enrollment for the Land Hacker program, okay? And if anybody's who's interested in it or who followed up through the weekend, is that this is basically my blueprint of how to do basically what I just said or what I kind of taught you, and how I expand upon it, and how I'm literally right now in the midst of getting a hold of 267 acres to do more of this land hacking thing. And then I'm looking at another piece of property that's 40 acres, which I'll actually probably be purchasing if I do get it. And this is what I do, okay? And this is how I teach my students. This is how I teach my clients. And there's 6 basic steps that I have walked students through, and I used over 300 clients and students to help build this out, and from people from all walks of life. People starting with $10,000 and less, all the way to people with a couple $1 million. And just depends on the size and scope of the project. All right, with that, real fast, is that this is going to be a 6-week live program. Just like how I'm communicating with you right now, I'm going to be teaching you each of these steps over 6 weeks. It's going to be way more involved. I'm actually going to give you homework. Okay, so if you don't like homework, I'm just kidding. The homework's not that bad, but I am going to expect that you do some stuff to both prepare and then also to follow up and let the knowledge and skills kind of really marinate. But you basically get more than 24 hours of instructions directly from me, just like this. I'll answer all of your Q&A. You got weekly coaching and office hours. On top of it, I am going to give you, because what's the point of building out this cool land hacker program if you don't know how to manage and how to list and design a good Airbnb listing or good rentals? And so I'm tacking on into this my mini program of the art of designing and building a 6-figure Airbnb. Okay, that's an additional 4 hours. And then here's a list of the bonuses that you get. One of the biggest things that I like in here, obviously the group coaching and the weekly office hours, PDF spreadsheets, and then the batch leads, the 50% off. I just gave that to you. But we're going to go into more in-depth training on that. I'm actually bringing in an expert to teach us how to do it. But the biggest thing here is the private Discord group. I already have a list of some really, really cool folks that I've already worked with. They're either clients or students of mine, and just people that are just phenomenal entrepreneurs and going to be investors here shortly. And if you want to be part of that Discord group where I'm basically going to be hanging out in, it's strictly for this program and be around like minds. It's one of the best places to bounce ideas off of, get help when I teach you like some MBA level math and running number stuff and you don't quite get it, but somebody else in there is a math major or a finance guy or finance gal, maybe they can help you. But obviously I'll be in there too. Last thing here is, like I said at the very beginning, today only, Web 125 off will get you $125 off. And for the first 5 signups, you will get a 25-minute one-on-one strategy consultation with me at the end of the program. The 60 minutes and 45 minutes were completely wiped up. I actually didn't think, I thought there would still be some here. Today's Monday for you, but they got completely booked up, and I tried to create a little more time in my schedule, and I can afford 25 minutes, especially for the rest of the week. Now, you can wait until the last day of Friday, but I'll tell you that the discounts is going to continue to go down, and then basically the consultations will go down if they're not completely taken away too. So with that all said, YouTube, I know you can't see it. The coupon code is Web125 off. I'm going to put the link inside the chat window here in a second. If you have any questions, just let me know. Otherwise, you can also go find it at kaiandrew.com. You can get to the program, the Land Hacker program. But essentially, for anybody who missed the Friday webinar, I have my MBA. I spent a lot of years in business doing deals, obviously real estate, heavily invested in real estate, investing in an entrepreneur. And I'm basically making an MBA crash course in real estate. And it's not stuff and fluff like I see in a lot of other courses and a lot of other channels. This is real deal stuff that they teach Harvard students, Stanford students, and that I actually used when we did mergers and acquisitions. We try to raise money and we analyze deals. And I'm teaching you how I do it in a way that you don't need a finance background or a math background. So with that said, let's jump into Q&A. We good? All right, go ahead and start filling that up as I get the links and I put everything into the chat window here. All right. So you guys go here. All right, there's that. Let's do it over here. Okay. All right, so as you guys get questions over in the webinar, go ahead and jump into the Q&A, type in your question. I'm gonna go through the chat window too, because I think I see a couple questions in there. And then I feel bad for the YouTube folks, so I'm gonna go over to the YouTube and I'm going to answer a couple of those questions, but don't worry, I'm pointing over here because my Zoom window's over here. All right, so YouTubers, what's up? Okay, so, whoa, what's going on with Nathan? Nathan, you okay? Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to go through all, I'm not telling you. All right, no question. Okay, here you go. Peter Alfonso, have you come across a boundary agreement on a property? Not sure if it's the same as a legal easement. Boundary agreement. That's a... I'm not sure what that means. I haven't heard of it. There's so many different terminologies and verbiage. Again, different counties, different states. Arkansas is still very backwards with their terminology, how they describe things. So I have not heard a boundary agreement. It does sound like potentially an easement for like a road or an access way, or even if you guys are sharing like a lake or a body of water, that could be it. Definitely look into that. If you're buying, I'm assuming you're buying acreage or a lot of raw land. You want to definitely make sure that you understand where the boundaries are, especially when it comes up across lakes, streams, or anything like that. And definitely don't want to get landlocked in there. So hopefully it's a boundary agreement or easement on your side where you have to give somebody else access. But be very, very mindful and careful if you're in the middle of a bunch of properties and you have to drive through somebody else's property to get there. Okay? So good question. What's up, Obi-Con, Kenobi? Okay, I'm jumping back over to Zoom here. Okay, so I'm going to go through the chat window real quick, and I'm going to jump in the Q&A. All right. David C., thanks for putting up those links. Can always get owner zoning. Yep. Okay, how long should you wait? Okay, Adrian asked, how long should you wait to hear from a property owner before sending a second letter? You know, it's up to you. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, I mean, to be completely honest, I'm sending you all emails right now because of obviously the enrollment and the webinars and everything right now too. And so some of you out there probably getting 1 or 2 emails from me a day, or at least 1 a day for the next 5 days, just to remind you what's happening and let you know when I'm going live. With property owners, I mean, you already have it. They don't know. It's already a no, essentially. And so if you give them an offer saying like, hey, I'm going to buy your place for $300,000 cash, and you don't hear back from them, maybe reach out to them again the next week, maybe the week after that. Now, the cool thing with Batch Leads, it sounds like I'm a shill for Batch Leads. I'm not. I'm really not. I don't make any money other than if you guys actually sign up and pay. But the cool thing that I do like about them is the fact that you can actually send text messages directly to the cell phone on file too. So you can actually send them mailers. You can send them a handwritten note if you absolutely love their property, or you just send them a typical postcard, and then you send them a text. And so you can have a whole sales funnel or marketing campaign where you maybe start with a postcard, and then you go to a handwritten note, and then you go to a text message. And then you can even do a phone call if you really are interested in the property too. So it's completely up to you. But general rule of thumb, I'd say give it at least 4 or 5 days. Colton, you're GIS professional? Man, oh man, I'm going to have to reach out to you. Okay, Colton Hart, I'm going to remember you. David, have you closed properties sourced from Batch Leads? No, so I literally all of this just got set up from, I found out about 2-3 months ago. Talked to Batch Leads about 4 weeks ago, got all of this set up maybe 2-3 weeks ago. And so I am going through it, and I didn't want to introduce you guys to it until I played with it, and I've been playing with it. So I've been going back through all of my other properties that I've searched for, looking at areas that I've kind of determined where my golden triangles are. And that's when I was like, wow, this thing is powerful because I'm able to do so much more in so much less time than my other methods of, real estate agents, Zillow, and everything else that I normally do. So I'll let you guys know. You'll be the first to know when I actually source and close a property from Batch Leads, though. But to tell you the truth, I've got so many projects on my hands right now, and I'm getting potentially 2 more properties, and I'm just running out of time. So I need to get that figured out too. And plus, I'm doing this program and working with you guys, and so I want to focus on that, and then I'll jump back onto the properties. Okay. SS, I'm having a hard time finding insurance for non-permitted geodome short-term rentals locations in California. Advice on how to insure. Thanks. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. It's going to be really state and city dependent on what type of insurance company that will do that for you. Make sure you call around. There's I forget. I know Allstate has like a sister company that does short-term rentals. You probably already reached out to them. There's one that starts with a C. I know that doesn't help you. I'm sorry. I haven't looked at it for a long time. But I would say that there's always like, it's not third party, what's it called? Higher risk underwriters like Lloyd's of London that will pretty much do anything. It's just going to cost you a lot of money. But if you're profitable factor that in, and it may be worth it for you. Quick Google search on different type of short-term rentals, short-term rental insurance policies, and not just short-term rental, but vacation homes, that type of thing. Campsites, campgrounds, RV, trailer parks. Those usually would be grouped in with the same what a geodome would be. Okay, should you prioritize? I'm coming back over to YouTube in a second here. I do see some questions. I will answer it here in a second. Should you prioritize being closer to your glamp site or finding a better area within a golden triangle that may be farther away, like in a different state? Antonio, I prefer to be near my projects. So even if I'm looking for properties to buy, I'm just lucky that these two properties I'm looking at are relatively close to me, like within 25, 30 minutes. But I'm also looking at property in Utah and Austin. And my game plan the entire time was that I was going to move out there for about 6 months to build out and get everything up and running, build out the system, get the codes, the cleaning team, handyman, all that stuff. And then I'd move back to where I'm at. So it's easier when you're on site. But it's definitely doable if you find a golden triangle somewhere else. It just takes more time and more money. Great question though. But in the beginning, if you're just getting up and going, like my last client, I highly recommended them. They had 21 acres. I'm like, start local, understand, go through all the headaches first, work your ways through the bugs and the systems, and then go out of state when things really need to kind of be spot on. Okay, jumping back over to YouTube and then back to Zoom. All right. Obi Khan recommendations for glamping in a superhuman environment. Geotents. I would not use canvas tents in superhuman environments or even environments that just get wet from rain or snow or anything, because they mold. And that combined with the people inside breathing, obviously, just warm body heat, maybe a pellet stove or something like that, and then humidity from just breathing, cooking, drinking water, whatever, mold will start to form and build up. And it happens, and you basically have to replace the canvas tents depending how good you are with it, but if you're really bad at it, 6 months to maybe 18 months. Unless you take it down, you wash it, and then you spray it with an anti-mildew, anti-fungal mold spray. But geotents are awesome. I think yurts have a very special thing with them too. I forget what it's called, but I know that yurts have a certain liner or where you can set it up so you don't have to, because obviously that's a lot of canvas that you have to do it. I like the geotents. That's what I'm playing with, because it is so easy to clean. It's PVC. You can put a liner, an insulation liner inside of it. So I like it. Okay. How do you determine the land boundaries on 100 acres if the property diagram is not clear, and is it a good idea to walk the property before purchasing? Absolutely. I am 100% on board, or really encourage you to always walk the property before you actually buy it, lease it, or whatever. I know a lot of people nowadays, especially like bachelors, you can look for property all over the world, or not all over the world, but all over the country. But I prefer walking because there's a couple things that you will never get from a camera. First of all, you have to remember, if it's a good agent or good seller, I'm going to take the best photos and then I'm going to sell it. I'm going to put it on my listing, right? I'm not going to take bad photos. Why would I do that? If there's a loud road right here or there's a paper mill behind me, I'm not going to take a picture of that for you. I'm going to take a picture of the sunset and the mountain for you. And you won't know that until you get on site, or until you look at, like, even if you look at a Google map view, you won't even see that. And so I found a lot of times when I started walking on site, you realize, for example, oh, whoa, this ground is way more clayey. I'm not sure if that's a word. It has way more clay than I expected. Immediately in my head, I know that septic systems and stuff don't do very well with clay. Okay, so I know that's gonna be an added cost. Also, like I said, that's a real thing, is that even though you can't see the road, maybe it's in this weird valley where it echoes, and all the semi trucks, you can hear their brakes and their horns going off all the way on your property. You know, that changes things a bit. One of my clients, she had a shooting range, literally a shooting range about half a mile or so away from her property, right? So these are all little things that you want to make sure, and then you want to see, and I like to envision what I can put on the property, or where I'm going to be putting the road, where I'm going to be putting the septic systems, or the pergola, or the sites and everything like that too. So that's what I'd say about that. 100 acres, you definitely want to hire either a geotech engineer or a surveyor to come out and take a look at the land. And then what they'll do is they'll actually take like real readings and put markers in the ground of where the points are going to be for your property. So you know exactly where your property lines are, and then you can build, you can set back from it. On 100 acres, you probably don't have to worry about setbacks, but it's very important for you to know where your property line is. Especially when this is very important, whenever your property line comes up against any type of natural resource. So trees, good soil, farmland, water, anything like that. You want to be very, very clear what's yours and what's not yours. Okay. It's an old written agreement. Okay, so Peter says it's an old written agreement between neighbors to get into a property. Yep, that's an easement. Like that, not sure if it's legit. If it's not, make sure, usually it will be stamped, something like that would be stamped or approved by the county, and the county will have a record of it. And if it's a legal form, you can always take it to a lawyer, pay a lawyer $200 to double check and make sure it's all legit. If not, get a new one set up or put the property under contract and make it contingent on you getting an easement or a legal easement with the neighbor or whomever's driveway that you share. So yeah. It's a good thing to be. It's a good thing to be concerned about. Meaning a walkthrough of the property. Crypto, I don't know. Are you asking a question? I'm not sure. Okay, back to Zoom. All right. Hey, I just noticed some really nice comments. I appreciate you too. Thanks, Dexter. Okay. Let's go Q&A. I'm going to answer you guys in a second. I'm just trying to go through this chat window. Okay. Would you recommend? Okay, Adrian, would you recommend going through the process of rezoning a property if everything else is perfect except zone? That's a tough one. Rezoning, I personally have not done it because I know what it entails. So typically rezoning, okay? So keep this in mind. My business partner and good friend, he does commercial properties. He's playing in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's when they rezone. And when they rezone, they literally have a team of lawyers and a couple $1 million to rezone a project or a property. Obviously, they're playing at a different scale. Just to give you an idea, that's what usually rezoning entails. It entails a lot of legalities and it entails a lot of paperwork and a lot of planning and engineering. So with that said, not impossible. You're just gonna have to have the time and the money again, and it's not fast and it's not cheap. With that said, you could go through the rezoning process if something really aligns with the county's objectives. Everything is, I shouldn't say everything, but most things in a county or an area is based off of a county's objectives or goals. Every single county has one. It's a very clear thing that they have to, it's like their vision or their mission that they're working towards. And sometimes what happens is like you'll find like 21 acres that's still zoned as an R1, a residential one, which makes no sense at all, right? Residential one is usually more geared for in the suburbs or in the city. Why is this outside of the city boundaries, residential one? Maybe it was way long ago when the first house was put there back, 1950s or something. And so now it should be perhaps rezoned as forestry, timber, farmland, agriculture or something. And if that aligns with the current county objectives, that might be a very good candidate to get rezoned very, very easily, very, very quickly. Other than that, one side note too is that you usually want it to be rezoned into something that is similar to everything surrounding it. So if you're in the middle of a residential area and everything around you is residential, don't even try, okay? But if you are the one residential one and you're circled by a bunch of rural or forest or timberland or farmland and you want to rezone, you might have a way better, you should have a way better chance in that situation. Okay. Batchlink doesn't direct to the free trial when I have that problem. Rodrigo, go and type in Kai. If I take your course, am I bound to succeed? Gil? Yeah. No, it's not a guarantee. So I said this in the Friday webinar. I can give you, there's 3 things that you need to succeed at anything, to print money, in literally any field. It doesn't have to be real estate. It's knowledge, skills, and experience. Okay, with those 3 things, you can print money with anything. And in this program, I can give you 2 of those 3 things, okay? I can give you the knowledge and the skills side. The experience, that's when you have to go out there, you have to make the phone calls, you have to talk to the county, you have to search for the land, you have to go walk the land, and then you have to sign on the dotted line. I wish I could do it for you. I really do. But I can promise you that the knowledge and the skills that I'm going to give you comes from a background of 16 years. I keep thinking 14. 16 years, I'm older than I think, of real estate, investing, building, buying, my MBA, working with small businesses, startups, all that stuff. I crammed it into this 6-week live program plus the extra week of the live program. And you get a one-on-one time with me. So I cannot guarantee you success because a lot of it's up to you as well. And if you don't watch the videos and you don't apply any of it, I mean, it's hard for me to guarantee that. But I can promise you that I'm giving you everything that has helped me succeed. And if I had to give myself advice or my blueprint, what I call it, to myself when I was 21, this program is exactly what I would give myself or tell myself. Okay. Your link on Batch Leads isn't working. It's not working? Hey, is anybody else having problems with Batch Leads? Batchleads.io/Kai. And then use Kai as the coupon code. All right, Henry Vu, how should you prepare for your first meeting with a landowner to land hack? Does it need to be detailed with site plans and documents or more casual concepts and brainstorming? I would say first get the introduction. And so if you're doing, I'm assuming the landowner, you're talking about a lease to own, or perhaps you're using batch leads or something. I would say reach out to them first and say like, hey, I'm very interested, or like, hey, it's like I'm an investor. This is my thing, right? You're gonna have to figure out the language for yourself. That's true, maybe slightly curved a little around the truth, but say something. I would call them like, hey, I'm a heavy investor in this area. I look at properties just like yours, and what I'm looking to do is XYZ. Don't know if you're interested in that, but basically I come in and I basically do all the funding, I do all the legwork, and basically we pay you X, or we profit share Y, or whatever the deal is set up. And so like, would you be interested? I'd love to come by and talk to you and share some of my ideas. If you can have that type of conversation, or warm introduction, better yet, if you know somebody that can introduce you to that person, that's the ideal scenario. But sometimes it's just picking up the call and literally making that cold introduction and saying who you are, what you want to do, and then most importantly, what do they get out of it? Make it quick. It's like, they call it your elevator pitch. Make it quick and concise. Okay. Yes, try Kai. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with the chat here. What is your best geotent company? Check out F-Domes. Amy Santana, check out F-Domes or Pacific Domes. Lee, what's going on? I'm looking to live on site locally where I live now. How does that change your search and the tools you use? I'd say do the same thing before. Always try to be proving yourself wrong or proving yourself right. It does not matter if it's right or wrong. You just need to prove yourself one way or the other. As an entrepreneur, as an investor, you always need to be unbiased as possible. So I may love an area. I love the piece of land. But if I go to AirDNA, I go to Airbnb, I go to Batch Leads, I look at all the information, I talk to the county, and everybody's saying, or everything is, all the data is showing that I will not succeed on it, even though I absolutely love it and my gut is telling me yes. I don't know. Actually, I take that last part back. My gut's saying yes, I might go run with it just because I do have a lot of experience with it. But if everything is pointing towards a no, and it's not even my worst, it's even worse than my worst case scenario, I'd probably let it go. And so instead of just doing like batch leads in an area that you already know, I'd rely more heavily on running the numbers and the different scenarios, which Lee, I know you're signed up for the program, which you will learn. I think it's during week 3 or week 4 when we go through the numbers. Okay. Good question, Lee. Is anyone who is planning to do land hacking in California, one of the rules or laws are different? California, Southern California is way more restrictive than Northern California. Mariposa County near Yosemite is more open, but California as a whole is just more restrictive than most states. It's just how California is. Okay. Is it okay to build a more permanent structure on leased property such with septic tank and water tank? Henry, I probably would not. I'd be very careful depending on how the lease and your relationship with that person or that individual is, because it can get it can be risky because if that lease breaks or they decide that the homeowner, the landowner is like, hey, peace out, I don't want you anymore, here's whatever my exit clause, and they pay you $20,000, but you've already put in a septic system and you've already done all this work and you have a cash flowing property or cash flowing site, it sucks. So I'd be more hesitant about putting permanent structure. In this situation, I always put non-permanent structures that I can always take onto another site that are reusable or resellable. Okay. Richard, I'm going to get to you. Okay. I know, I feel bad. I'm answering all your questions in chat. I'm going to jump over the Q&A because I'm not being a very good host and I'm answering all your questions in chat. All right, Q&A. And then we're going to YouTube. All right, so Stefan, any insurance companies? All right, we already answered that. Dismiss. Rita, hi Rita. Kai is the discount code. And Tony, should you start with a smaller, cheap land that's close to you with small money? Yes, if you can find land near you, if you have a relatively low amount of money, find smaller, cheaper land that is close to you. That way it's easier. The further, the bigger you go, obviously the more money it costs. Antonio, should you prioritize being closer to glam site to find a better help? We already answered that. David, hi, would you be able to sign up for your course with a business partner so they have access? Do we need it? David, thanks so much for asking that. A lot of people, they try to split it. It's a ton of work, and honestly, you only get one seat in there, even if you split it with friends. I get to see all your emails anyways, and so I'm going to be working with you, so I know it's not going to be just you. But if you're a couple, husband, or just partner, whatever, wife, husband, wife, you can set up. And if you have a business partner, so just two of you. So you can have up to 2 business partners share an account. Just let me know, and then I will add both your emails into it so you guys can both be part of the, obviously, the live classroom because it is based on your email. Good question, David. All right, Paige, how many acres would you recommend for a 5 glam site project, which also having private home? That Paige, that's a great question in the sense that it depends because you can give me 20 acres on Joshua Tree and it's flat land and you can see roads and neighbors, and I don't even think that's enough. Maybe, I mean, that's 4 acres roughly, not including the house, but it's sight and sound that you don't want to deal with. Or you can give me 3 acres in the Georgia mountains and you're not going to be able to see or hear anybody on those 3 acres, even with 5 sites. So it's more about the topography. So think about sound and then think about sight. Jamie Pico, is it better to buy land under an LLC? We have already bought land under our names. This is for our Jamie, I am not a legal advisor, but what I would say is what legal advisors have told me. I am not telling you, this is not legal advice, is that I put all my properties and my projects under separate LLCs. You can, I forget what it's called, but you can switch it over. It is a process. It is an ordeal to switch it over to an LLC. Your bank or your lender may even just say flat out, no, it's not possible. Be persistent with it. But typically when you do buy land, you do want to put it underneath a holding company to separate you liability wise. Slater Solomon, what a cool name. Slater Solomon, dude, sounds like a superhero. You're like a Marvel superhero. Slater Solomon. Okay, you're in Asheville. What type of deals are you looking to do here? Man, find me a good piece of land between Asheville and the Smoky Mountains. Give me about 10 plus acres. That's what I want. With a view, ideally. All right, I'm in a rural area living where there's tons of lakes and parks. I'm assuming that's what you're saying. So I see things always, but don't know how to judge. What do you advise? Would you give? What advice would you give to get started? I would say the easiest way to start is if you have a current home or you have a current space that you can try, just like even do a private room, a basement, anything like that, just to get the ball rolling on becoming familiar with the Airbnb platform, because that's where 80% plus of your customers will be coming from. That's probably the easiest, fastest way to doing it. If you don't have that and you need to do another piece of property, I would be saying watch my golden triangle video, okay? But remember, it's not just about the space and the view. That's one big component, don't get me wrong, I love that. But there's not a million, I should take that back. There are dozens of different ways of enhancing that space or enhancing that listing so that you don't just try to compete with people being better, but you compete on being different. I know I say that a lot and I echo it a lot, but it's super important because none of us in this room will be successful if we try to compete with Marriott. I shouldn't assume that about you. I know I would not be successful if I competed to try to be better than Marriott. I don't have the funding. I don't have the background to be a giant hotel chain. But I can be very, very different from a Marriott with my shipping containers, okay? So I can't compete them with like 300 or 400 rooms, but I can compete with them with 5 different shipping containers that has a really cool view, okay? So I'd say start with the Golden Triangle and then start checking up how can you make this space unique. And then you might even consider buying like one of those pre-built tiny homes for $40,000 or $50,000, put it on the property, and then you can probably, if it's in a Golden Triangle, you should be able to lease it or rent it out for at least $100 a night or around that area and pay it off relatively quickly. Okay. All right, I'm jumping over to YouTube because there's a couple questions over here. All right, what's up, everybody? Redneck Boys, J-Rig, would you recommend buying raw land if there's no viable house hacking strategy? Have you ever done a glam site on raw land? No, I do not like raw land like that. And the reason behind that is because usually to do it correctly, you need the blessings of the blessing of the county or the city. Sorry, I got something in my eye. And when you do that, raw land has a ton of stuff that you need to do. Typically, it's the infrastructure. Glamping and glamp sites are actually really inexpensive. It's the infrastructure that's expensive. And you want to go off-grid, that's fine. You're probably going under the radar or you're going against zoning or permit codes. Now, there are areas that are unrestricted, so you might be okay with that. But just remember that to bring in water tanks, to hook up plumbing, to do all this stuff, build out the bathroom and have toilets and stuff, dumpsters, areas for trash, all this stuff, it requires a lot more money than people think. A lot of people think of just like the single tent that costs $2,000 or $3,000. And I was like, but once you put in the gravel driveway, you have a parking area, all this stuff, you're starting talking about maybe $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 depending where on the property you want to put it. Raw land is I shouldn't say dangerous, but it's very risky in the sense that you don't know what you have. A lot of times in counties like my area, my state, the Pacific Northwest, it's not a state, it's an area. But you cannot just start cutting down trees. Like you have to get permits to cut down certain types of trees, especially old growth trees, which is basically all the trees that are over here. And so you gotta be careful of that because that can end up costing you some money too. Good question. All right. Didn't catch that for determining property lines. Did you say geotech engineer or designer or surveyor, Sina? Geotech engineer can help you with obviously understanding slope and everything. That depends if it's just crazy. But geotech engineers typically have surveyors on their crews or they have contacts to surveyors. Is agricultural zoning best for glamp sites or does it mainly rely on the county? Agricultural is usually pointing in the right direction. But absolutely depends on the county. Yep, 100%. Joshua Tree glamping, is it saturated or is there still opportunity to capture market share? Joshua Tree is an area that you have to be very, very careful in because there's a lot of heavy investors going in there and with very deep pockets. And the other thing too is most of the glamp sites and trailers that you see there are actually there illegally. And I know I believe it's San Bernardino County, correct me if I'm wrong, but they are actively creating new laws and rules and regulations around short-term rentals because out there right now it's kind of the wild, wild west. And so I know from people that I know that invested there that there are new things, regulations coming down the road to stop it or prevent it or to restrict it. So be careful when you're going to Joshua Tree. It looks attractive, but there's a lot of regulations coming in that area. Does it matter? GS, does it matter if neighbors are close? Yes, it does. Eyesight and earshot. Be away from them. I've made this mistake before. I will never make it again. I've had viewers lose their glamp sites because neighbors complained. And also, aside, even if it's completely legal and everything's cool, nobody wants to be looking into a neighbor's house, and no neighbor wants to be looking into a glamp site. So yeah. I have a bit over an acre of land with no zoning, but there are neighbors and even other areas nearby, or does it no matter? But in your case, if you already have land and there's other Airbnbs nearby, if you want to do it and you can point it in the right direction so people don't see it, shoot, do it. Yeah, be very transparent. I would take like full photos so people can see what they're looking at if they're looking into a house or something. Try it out. I mean, if you already have it, you might as well. Kyle Style, when preparing to buy your first property, would you rather buy a property that cash flows well or one that sets up your family up better long term? Kyle, are you talking about like equity or what are you talking about setting up your family long term? In traditional real estate, they say you can't have both. You can't have equity and you can't have cash flow. I have found that you can have both. You can have equity and cash flows. But to answer your question, the equity is a bigger factor for me because that creates generational wealth. Right now, just for me building this property out right now, every single year I make between 3 to 6%, and obviously I've made way more this past year in equity, and that usually allows me to borrow more money or pull out a larger HELOC. And so you think about it, the property is valued around like probably 1.2, 1.3 million. So every single year it goes up on average between, what is that, $50,000 to like $100,000 every single year. Did I do that math right? 56? No, because 10% would be 100,000. So yeah, about like say $50,000 to $75,000 I make every single year just off the equity off this one property. Okay, that's on top of all the cash flows that it's going to be making. And so I really, really believe in equity. It's one of the best ways to pass on wealth to your kids or to your grandkids or just down your family or even a retirement plan. So make sure you think of both. Okay. Jacob, what are your thoughts on investing in a four-season area that has a very small amount of comps? I love four-season areas. I'm in a four-season area. Very few comps means a couple things. They have heavy regulations, not enough traffic, or it's a sleeper. A lot of people don't know about it yet. So make sure you know which of those three is the reason why there's so few comps. Okay, what are your... Puerto Rico. Man, oh man, if you guys don't know this, if you guys want to help reduce your tax bill, if you live in Puerto Rico for, I believe it's 6 months out of the year, you don't have to pay federal taxes. Check with your CPA on that if you guys are making a good amount of money. But between my business partner and I, that's something that we're going to have to start considering. Because taxes hurt a lot. 40-50%. You can imagine how much that dings you. So anyways, I don't know Puerto Rico. I don't know the market down there. I don't know what the travel is like down there. If you are Puerto Rican or if you travel there a lot and you understand the space, absolutely. I am all for that type of thing to do glamp sites abroad. I have a friend whose cousin is Guatemalan and has a very successful Guatemalan glamp site. So, Obi Khan, you're looking down there right now? Please keep me posted. Email me and let me know what's going on. Okay, back to Zoom. Zoom. All right. Is it difficult to change to an LLC? It can be. It really depends on your lender, Jamie Pico. I don't know why I love saying your name, Jamie Pico. Check with it. Call the lender. See what they say. Be persistent about it. Even if they say no, call back and try to see if you can talk to somebody else. Because I'm assuming that your lender is a bigger corporation, bank, and look online and see if they have like a FAQ or anything like that where you can switch over to a business or you can change the deed name. And then when you tell the reason why, just say it's for tax purposes. They dig in deeper, just like, hey, so for tax purposes, we'll still be the guarantors. 100% on the line. Just for tax purposes, we'd like to switch it over to an LLC. Okay. Ryan Thompson, how do you pay your cleaners? Going rate for cleaning in the year or year is about $40. How much and how did you pay yours? Is that enough money? I don't know what area you're in. $40? Man, oh man, that's really good. So this is a deeper thing. I'll do this really quick because we can get into this very, very deep. And I have a bunch of other questions that I want to make. Oh my goodness, I got so many questions. Okay. Cleaners, I negotiate with my cleaners and I set up teams. So I don't do property managers. I don't work with large cleaning crews. I work with smaller cleaning crews. And so I work with them. I bring them under the fold. They're basically, technically they're contractors. Essentially, they're my employees because I train, I coach them, I do background checks on them, and then I negotiate with them on how I pay. It's a lot more in depth than that. If you want to learn more, I think I say it in one of my videos, or in the program, we do a whole build out of how to set up the entire systems behind it. But for a geodesic dome, depending on where they're driving in from, $40 seems more like they're like really close in a town right over and everything is on site, like all your cleaning supplies and everything's on site. But I would say a more fair rate, again, I don't know where you're at, so that might be a super fair rate, like maybe down the south or something. But for me in my area in the Pacific Northwest, a more fair rate is probably around the $65 to $75, and that's me negotiating really, really well. So, Okay, good question. Lee, what's going on? I'm looking to live on site. Oh, I already talked to you about that. Okay, Richard, would you suggest staying away from raw land when you're first starting out? Yes. I'm assuming different land would determine what type of structures you can place on it. Yeah, I'd stay away from your very first deal, staying away from raw land, unless you have really deep pockets and you have a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just literally when you start digging, you start working the raw land, like just things come up. There's a lot of studies, a lot of engineering, a lot of potential things that you don't know that you have to do. When you buy property that already has a house on it, has utilities up to it, you have power, you have water, you have well, septic, all that stuff is already there. I'd gladly pay for all that. Plus, permits have already been pulled. And so when you do septic systems, not only have you to design it, you have to pull permits from it, and then you have to install it, and then you have to test it. It's like a whole ordeal that takes a lot of time. Whereas if you buy a house or a place that already has it there, worst case scenario, you update it, you replace it, it's already set up for you. And so it's easier that way. But if you have the time and you have the money, yeah, go raw. I love raw land. All right, KT, what's going on? If you have property that you're looking at with foundation issues and other renovations needed, what kind of experts do you recommend? All right, so there's certain types of, well, first of all, you probably want an appraiser, an inspector. I'm assuming you did that, right? Sorry. Don't get the appraiser, the inspector is what I'm talking about. And so the inspector will come through, double check everything, rip through everything and check. And then for the foundation, you're gonna have to bring in a foundation crew. Sometimes the foundation guys, these are very specialized trades where they'll jack up the house or they'll cut out that block that's missing and they'll reform it, they'll redig it out and pour it in place and everything like that. And then they'll drop down the house and everything like that. So it's specialized, but this is the great thing about it. If you understand the market well enough, don't get scared away from situations like that or scenarios like that because it might cost you, who knows, maybe $75,000 to jack up the house and then replace the foundation or that area of the foundation. But once you spend that $75,000, maybe it increases in value by $100,000. You don't know, right? So always run the numbers. Don't be emotionally tied to the numbers. In terms of the rest of the stuff inside the home, the inspector will be able to tell you, especially if you get a good inspector, talk to people that you know or agents that know somebody or is a friend of somebody that can give you good advice of a good inspector. And they'll tell you, it's like, yeah, the plumbing looks messed up. Hey, it looks like they still have iron pipes outside. You have to replace this. It looks like the roof is leaking here. It looks like this roof is about on its last leg, like all that stuff. And they'll basically give you a list of everything. And then you can go through that list and you can start putting prices next to them and see how much it costs. And then if that cost is what you're willing to spend on it, and the market value once you do all of it is higher and that margin is good for you, then pull the trigger. Good question. All right, Gil, will there be another course in the near future? I recently took a course in glamping and I'm still integrating the info. Oh, Gil, was that with Rob? Yes and no. There will not be a live program in the near future. These live programs take a lot of work, and I love working with obviously all of you. Any of my clients know that, and all my students know that for sure. And so I'll be spending specifically a lot of time on it. And being live, it's not like a pre-recorded thing where you just watch it on your own pace. I'm literally working with you, kind of like how I'm talking to you right now. And then we got office hours and group coaching, and then we have a bunch of students who have one-on-one consultations. So future programs will be a more polished, like edited, sound effects, all that stuff. But it will probably cost more money, and it will be probably next summer. But anybody who's part of this program now will have access to all future, both live and pre-recorded land hacker programs. So, yeah, I think that answers your question, Gil. Brian Sanchez, I found a great golden triangle. What would you suggest is the minimum amount of land to start off with to get away with? Again, Brian, it all depends on sound and sight and topography. And so if it's flat land overlooking a bunch of neighbors and a road, I'd pass it by even if it was like 50 acres. But if it's 4 acres and you're completely secluded and has beautiful sunset views, ocean, or I guess not ocean, but like lake views or water views or something like that, and it's easily accessible and utilities are already on site, I would gladly take the 4 acres over the 50 acres. All about sight and sound, my friend. Gracie, what's going on, Gracie? Can I start Airbnb if I'm still paying the mortgage? I live 15 minutes away from you. Absolutely. Yeah. Great. So you can start, assuming that you're not in an HOA and that you have, if you're not in an HOA and you're in a neighborhood that allows or zoning that allows it, there's no short-term regulations. If you set up a private room or a basement or something, just get your feet wet. Yeah, you can absolutely do that. That's how I started. Josh Etheridge, what's going on? I have 34 acres and 60K. Spend the cash I have or get a loan for more. I have 34 acres and 60K. I would, if you can get a loan and you're not financially leveraged right now, you're not over leveraged, I would see if you can get a loan because loans are so cheap right now, and build something or do something on the 35 acres to create cash flows, pay off that loan, and then leverage that new income stream to get a bigger loan to do more stuff. It sounds like you got a pretty cool deal right there. But yeah, first rule of business, never run out of cash. Okay, so I have a chance to buy my first glamping site in North Carolina, but it is 6.5 hours away from me in Florida. North Carolina is really cool. I like it. Airbnb shows 60% occupancy. Should I buy there or somewhere here in Florida for my first glamping site? Garrett, I would say that it depends what your risk tolerance is, right? If you run the numbers, like how I taught in, I think one of my videos on YouTube, I teach you guys some of the basics of running numbers. But if the numbers make sense, North Carolina might be the place to go. And if you're okay with setting up the systems and investing more money and time into it, that might be where you need to be. If you're relatively green and brand new to it and you want to start in Florida and be able to troubleshoot problems as they come up, then that might be the best bet for you, especially if the numbers still work out in your favor. But it's always going to be easier and faster to do something relatively close to you than further away from you. Or farther away. I always forget how to do. Is it farther or further? Correct my grammar. English is not my first language. All right. So just as a reminder, oh my goodness, it's already almost 7. My goodness. Okay, I still have a bunch of energy, so I might still be going with this. If any of you are still thinking, let me see how many. If you guys, any of you are still thinking about jumping in, we still have 3 seats left for the Land Hacker program. So if you guys use the code to WEB125 off, you'll still get a 25-minute consultation with me, and you get $125 off. It's going to continue to go down throughout the week, and then at the end of the week, I think you'll get like maybe, if I even decide to do it, but I think that's going to get down to like maybe 10 or 15-minute sessions by the end of the week. So jump in there, and hey, everybody, just to let you know, all 80 of you or whatever, how many of you, 100, no more than that, goodness gracious, 110 of you guys are in here right now. I have a 30-day money back guarantee, okay? I stand behind all my products. Any of my students, my clients know this, is that if I don't provide you value or you don't think that the program is worth it, let me know. I'll gladly refund you. I really do believe in everything I do, and I can tell you this right now with a shadow of doubt, just the numbers, I know I'm talking about that a lot because I've got a lot of questions on it. Just the numbers section alone, it's literally stuff that's pulled from Harvard MBA school. Okay, my main business professor was not just a Harvard MBA grad, he was a Harvard Business School professor, and then he started up his own school and program, which I went to. And it's basically what I used to make myself a lot of money. And that in itself, I paid over $80,000 for. Harvard students pay $150,000, $200,000 for it. Stanford students, the same price range. And you guys get that basically for less than $3,000, way less than $2,500. That in itself is worth it. Everything else in the program basically is icing on the cake, which is instrumental to the success of any type of land hacking or property investment. So with that said, take advantage of it. We have 3 seats left right now. So get on it. All right. Paige, you're welcome, Jamie Pico. Paige, outside the Portland area, where should we be looking for land? I know you're Pacific Northwest, so you might have some booking calls so we can chat about this more. Hey, Paige, awesome. Calls, I'm going to be basically closing out consultation sessions within the next, I think, 10 or 11 days. So if you want to book a call, go ahead, do it now. But after that, I'm focusing on the program. But Pacific Northwest, man, there's a lot of golden triangles. I can't tell you too much because I do invest in that area. But you know that there's some good places around the Portland area. Draw those triangles and then see where they overlap and then see how close it is. Be careful. Don't be inside. Stay outside of Multnomah County, though. Okay. Rodrigo, are there instances where prefab container homes are a better option, especially if it's your first time working on container homes? Absolutely, Rodrigo. I would say, honestly, anybody out there who's looking at getting into container homes, do container home or buy them pre-made unless you're a welder or you have deep pockets or you have a very good friend that's a welder, and you're okay going through the process and kind of stumbling along. It's just a lot of work. A lot of builders don't know how to do container homes, and so you're left to your own devices to figure it out. And the thing is that usually you absolutely have to get it permitted, and there's a lot of constraints around that, a lot of inspectors. I told you this, I said this in one of the videos, not only do I have to pay my welder, but I also have to pay an inspector to watch my welder, okay? It's just a lot of extra money. So, but when you buy a prefab container home, it's all sent to you, shipped to you, $40,000 to $70,000, depending on what you want to put in it, and it's ready to go. You can get it even permitted. So I would definitely check that out, Rodrigo. SI containers and alternative living spaces, I believe, are the two container homes that I really like. All right, Gil again. Gil, oh my goodness, you're just asking. Further or farther, either one works. Really, Garrett? Are you sure? I thought one is meant for distance and one was meant for more of like not distance. But I'll believe you because you're a person on the internet. All right, do you think this business is a trend that won't last long? If you're talking about glamping, everything is going to go up and down. The way I do my properties, the way I do everything is I make them so that they're adaptable. So if you think that you're going to be doing this glamping site for the rest of your life, you're probably not. But I will teach you and I will show you how I stayed on the top and be in the top 5-10% of Airbnb, and I continue to make money. And even my worst case scenarios, like how I'm getting rid of all my city properties, I still make money when I'm about to transition into something new. So business, life, entrepreneurship, it's all about building yourself up and getting to a point where you can easily flow into the next thing. And that's why I like this world of real estate, is that I can flow into things very easily. And even my worst case scenarios, like when I say this, I'm not speaking hyperbole. Is that the word? I'm not exaggerating. Is that 2020 literally could have stayed for a whole decade, and I could have held on to all of my properties. Okay, I've set them up in a manner where I cannot lose. It's almost impossible for me to lose them, even if Airbnb and the pandemic shuts everything down. Okay, you want to put yourself in that position so you can imagine if like you can survive a pandemic or a 2008 recession. And once you want to decide to sell it, great. Okay, I sell it because it's not producing what I want anymore. I'll take my 300,000, I'll take my 400,000, I'll take my 100,000, and I'll move it into some new project or new deal. And so, is it a trend? Yeah, it's a trend. Is there a way that you can do it so you're better than everybody else and you survive in that trend for far, far longer? Absolutely. Will it die eventually? Probably. But will you make a ton of money in the process? Yes, that's what we want to do. All right. Will you reveal the list of prime locations, counties that are optimal for this biz? I will inside the program. There's actually one day where I talk about probably my 5 favorite areas, including the zonings that are best that I've found in the United States, and the triangles and all that stuff, and places where I'm breaking the rule of the triangle, and why I like them. So I can't just give everything away for free, you guys. But Gil, I think you're actually signed up for the program, right? I don't know that I am a badass like you. How do I Okay, I do 50 push-ups every morning. I do 50 sit-ups, and I drink a bunch of water. That's what I do. I also run like a mile a day. All right. Hi, Kai. It's Moon here from New York. Hi, Moon. Good to see you. Or I can't see you, but you can see me. All right, I'm planning on doing a tiny home on wheels glamp site in upstate New York. Cool. In the process of doing assessment. Any advice on insurance for a project like this? Do I have to worry about sprinklers and inspection? Man, oh man, check with the, okay, I'm never going to tell you guys to do anything illegal. I would never advise it. So check with the zoning, see what they recommend for you to do, and understand if you are going to skimp around zoning and permits, understand that you're not doing anything detrimental, right? So nothing highly illegal, nothing where it can come back and hurt you really bad. Now, a lot of times, insurance companies will not provide you insurance if you're not permitted or properly set up. But with that said, check with insurance providers. Every insurance company is different. Google it real quick. I personally use State Farm and Allstate. Allstate has a secondary product, or not product, but branch sister company that does specialize in short-term rentals. Might want to check with them. And then, I don't know the name. I literally just paid the bill. It's like another insurance provider that has like 2 last names combined together. It sounds like a legal firm, but I forget it. I wouldn't advise them for you guys anyways for what you guys are doing. So Moon, do a quick Google search, check out Allstate, check out State Farm, and give them a call. Talk to a bunch of insurance agents. You may even consider looking up an insurance broker and then taking a look at that. Zoning checks all the boxes. Excellent. Good. Yeah. Start making phone calls to insurance agents and insurance brokers. All right, Richard, last one on Q&A, and then I'll jump over to, actually, you guys actually asked a bunch of questions in the chat window too. Okay. Richard, looking to possibly add a treehouse or dome to an existing property with a home. Is the permit process the same as adding an ADU, or is it different, not necessary in the same cases? Thanks again. Okay, so it's going to be different county to county. So how do I say this? Some counties, remember guys, broad strokes here. Some counties will require that the ADU follows the same style line or the same style as the main house. So for example, if you have like a 1970s ranch style home, you're not going to be able to build this super modern contemporary ADU. Okay, so it's the same thing with the treehouse or the dome tent. With that said, if your county doesn't have that restriction, which a lot don't have out there, you may be in the clear. And then through that process, all you have to do, and I say all, but it's important and it's not as easy as it sounds, is that you just need to go through the typical building code and adhere to the building code and structural code to build whatever you're trying to do, whether it's a dome home, dome tent, or treehouse. So typically, site plan, design plan, engineering plans, potentially geotech plan if it's a treehouse, to see if the land can support the extra weight in one area, and then you're off to the races. Apply for the permits, go at it. But yeah, that's how it is. And typically, I'll be honest with you, the biggest constraints here is usually insulation for my area, anyways. It's like, how do you insulate this well enough so you can meet certain types of codes? All right. Good deal. Whew, it feels good to see a clear list right there. All right. Oh boy. Okay. We got 2. All right. We're down to 2 more. Yep. 2 more seats left for tonight's deal. So Web 125 off. And you get $125 off every single night this week. It's going to continue to go down tomorrow. I think it's going to go down to $75 off, then $50, then $25, and then nothing off the very last day. And then there's 2 more seats left for a 25-minute one-on-one strategy consultation with me after the program. Remember, again, 30-day guarantee, money back. I stand behind all my stuff. I'm not here to steal money. But this is like I said, it's tremendous value that I want to provide to you, but it does take a lot of my time. I'm not going to lie. It does take a lot of my time. Okay, let's go through these questions. Let's go back to YouTube here. All right, YouTubers. Hey, what's up, Amoon? I'm pronouncing that right? Right, Amoon? All right, really enjoying the Q&A. Thanks for your time. Of course, Kyle. Good to see you. All right, Sean Lopez, investing with a partner, family member, a bad idea when just getting started with income property split 50-50? No, not at all, as long as you trust your family or your partner. Whenever you get in business, and I speak from experience of having some ones that didn't go so well, but we're still amicable and things went just fine. It just wasn't ideal. And then watching friends, literally good friends, going through court systems and just headaches and losing tens and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars just in legal fees and just stuff. So yeah, make sure whenever you go into business with somebody, it is, I say it's stronger than, it has to be stronger than a marriage. And in that sense, it's not just like a prenup or anything like that, or a post-nup. It's that you literally write out everything. There's 3 key things that you want in a contract. Even if this is your best friend or your mom or whomever it is, you have what you're each bringing to the table, whether it's your labor, it's your expertise, it's your money, whatever that is. Make sure it's in the contract. What you're going to, your role is, right? Is it a silent partner? They literally have no say over it. Or Are they in charge of sales? Are they in charge of the building? Are they in charge of XYZ, whatever that is? Make sure it's clear cut that they are in it for whatever. They have a clear role within the business. And then, there's 4 things. And then what do they get out of it? Do they get a 50% cut? Do they get revenue split, profit split? Do they have an interest rate and then you pay them back by a certain period? Do they have certain free nights? A year, a month, what is it? And then an exit clause, 2 exit clauses. One where you want to exit and one where they want to exit. Okay, very, very important to have those inside your contract with anybody and everybody. And do not think like, hey, it's my best friend. I've known him since I was 3 years old. Money and business changes people. I don't care who you say you are, okay? And they might not be a bad person, but the stressors of business and money, will change what they want and what they're willing to do. So make sure that you have those in. But other than that, you can split it however you want to split it. Jacob, was the promo for the consultations of the program? Please share if you can. Jacob, the promo is for just the program. Okay, sorry, $125 off of a $300 or $400 consultation is too much. Okay, that's too much. But yeah, that's for the program. So you get basically a free consultation in the program and you get a discount on the program. Emoon, contractors and trades, how do you find them? This is the thing where that's a great question because I hate having to say this because I hated hearing it when I listened to other more mature entrepreneurs. Remember, I'm older than a lot of you guys, and that's weird for me to say because I was always the baby of my group, is that I'm in the field long enough when I've built relationships, I've built rapport, and then I've made connections and I've worked with people over the years. And so it's easier for me to find like, hey, Johnny, do you know somebody that can do the XYZ? It's like, yeah, go talk to Jimmy. Okay, here's Jimmy's number. Hey, Jimmy, I'm Johnny's buddy. So you start building these rapports and you do it over enough times, you have this network of people. Now, with that said, I'm still looking for property in Utah and Austin or in Texas. And if I go there, I'm starting from fresh. Actually, I probably have some contacts in Austin, but let's say Utah. I'm starting fresh. And so if I do that, that means that I am going there and I'm doing the same thing that we're all doing. Googling. You Google, you look up, you find the reviews. And I do something very different because I was in charge of hiring, firing. I had my departments when I was back in my business days. And I interview people and I've learned how to interview them and I ask them questions. I ask for referrals. I look at the projects. I do a deep Google research online and see what projects they've been part of. And then sometimes if I don't have enough data and because it's not available, I might be able to just kind of wing it. And I wing it in the sense like, okay, I'm going to take this risk. It's $17,000 for this foundation guy to come out and do this. And I might get bit in the butt, but I'll learn and I can move forward from there. So that's why I always say like you want a cushion of cash because sometimes in those moments when you're relatively new to it, you are going to have to take that leap of faith and spend $17,000. And all of a sudden, oh, this guy's not super awesome. And now it's costing me $24,000 because he's super slow or he underpriced me or whatever, which has happened to me. Okay. Hey, welcome, Jacob. All right, so Jacob just jumped on. So what is that? We're down to one more. Is it one more seat, right? Gosh, my brain is fried. Okay, I think it's one more seat. So with one more seat, and I know some of you are asking me questions from my channel or from my website. I can't answer you right now because I got all these other questions. So one more seat for anybody who wants to get $125 off and get the extra strategy consultation with me. And you guys will get all the details after this enrollment week. So jump down in there. Hopefully we'll get somebody in. And I am going to put this right in here. Andrew.com/program. You guys are so cool. I love how many questions you guys be asking. All right. I'm coming back to you, Zoom. Hang on. I know you guys are asking me questions, but I ignored YouTube for a little bit too long. So, all right. So, okay, Alex, what areas do you recommend for San Francisco Bay Area? Is Tahoe worth it still? I'm not super familiar. I would say no to San Francisco Bay Area. I just know that their regulations are crazy, crazy tight. I don't even know if they even allow it. And it's just it's too expensive. Like, to tell you the truth, you're better off going away from San Francisco than trying to get land or property in San Francisco and getting something way less expensive and then putting a relatively simple site or simple land hack together and making way more money. Or, I'm sorry, not way more money, but way better ROI. Tahoe, I'm not familiar with Tahoe. My suggestion to you is I would do the exact same thing of, if I don't know an area, I would run through my market strategy or my market analysis strategy. Market analysis, and then create a strategy. There you go. And then run the numbers on it. And then if you do enough, you can do super deep number analysis. And then if the numbers make sense, it basically either proves or disproves what you want to do in that area. And so I'm gonna put it at that. But I've heard good things about Tahoe, but I know it's more of a vacation town, and there's a tons of homes already there, a bunch of vacation homes. So if the zoning works and the numbers make sense, I don't see anything wrong with it. Make sure that you do that market research though. All right, market open. I'm assuming you're a stock person. I still have not seen the pricing for the course. How much is it? Course right now is, if you don't see the course, go to my website. It should be on there. It's $24.47 right now. You get an extra $125 off, and you get a 25-minute consultation with me, strategy consultation at the end of the program, so you can wrap everything up nice bow, and then we can obviously put together a plan for you. Hopefully that answers your question. Market open. Sina, do you have any recommendations for companies who are great with tax and assets protection? I have a great guy named Kevin. Sina, are you part of the program? I think I saw your name. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just confused. Anyways, Kevin, my CPA, is going to be inside the program. Well, he's going to be talking. He's going to be one of our expert guest speakers. He's going to walk us through all the tax side of stuff and basically share how we can protect ourselves from tax liabilities. I have not found a good insurance agent yet to speak. Maybe I'll try to find one and see if we can talk, but we'll definitely talk about it. All right, specifically attorneys, businesses. Okay, that's your next thing. Attorneys, businesses who understands corporation structures, knows when to switch over to optimize tax savings. Yeah, that's Kevin. That's what I'm doing basically with Kevin right now. All right, Kyle Style. How long do you predict interest rates will remain sub 5%? Not much longer. It's 18, 24 months. So we still have some time. Maybe more. Sub 5%. I think sub 4% definitely for the next 12 to 18 months. Sub 5%, maybe 24, 36 months. That's totally a guess. It's just we can't keep things so low right now. We're going to start creating a lot of problems in macroeconomics. And I know we don't want to get too into that because it's kind of boring, but I find it interesting. The economy can't do that. It has to go up at some point for GDP and all that other good stuff. Okay. Anthony Pajolis, how do you get past the doubting yourself stage? I wanted to build an investment property in JT, but I'm just scared of failing and even starting. Anthony, my man, that's something that we all deal with. I dealt with it. I'm sure everybody in this room is in a very similar situation, or they have been in a very similar situation. And I've found out that you can arm yourself. The best way of doing it is arming yourself with knowledge and skills, kind of like what I talked about. And then you start doing experience. So I compare it with anything else like surfing, rock climbing, jiu-jitsu. Those are all things that I do. So sorry for bad examples. Or building a house, building a small tent, remodeling a bathroom, is that you need to gain the knowledge first. How to read the waves, what kind of board do you use? Where's the best place to go for beginners, right? How to paddle, how to stand up, all that stuff, how to turn. And then once you understand the knowledge and the skills, you go out there and you start practicing. And as you practice and you get better and better, you boost your confidence higher and higher. But if you go into anything completely green and you're super scared out of your mind, even if you go surfing and you watch all the videos and you talk to me and we do all this stuff, we get you a perfect board, but you're scared out of your mind, you're not willing to jump out of your comfort zone, it's going to be tough for you to learn. And so a lot of times it's about, I've said this before too, it's learning how to learn and then also being able to step out of your comfort zone. And this is why I like doing, hint, hint, spoiler alert, is starting off small and then building and proving a concept and then going bigger, 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 bigger. So the first one is I probably won't buy raw land Joshua Tree and then start renting it out and trying to build a house or a glamp site or something. I would say start small and maybe lease a nice home or a nicer home in an area, live in one bedroom, and then Airbnb out the basement or Airbnb out the private room, right? It's a great way to get started. It's very much in control. You have a bunch of safety nets where you can then rent it out to a friend or a family member or something like that if it doesn't work out. But that way you're like, okay, yeah, I know how to deal with guests. I know how to deal with reviews. I know how to deal with this. I know how to deal with that. And then you can slowly work your way up. And so right now for confidence, I would say don't dive in all the way head first. I'd say build your knowledge, build your skills, and then slowly start gaining experience, right? Okay. Hope that helps. All right. I think we're wrapping things up here. Sina, of course. Sean, can you hire me? I don't know, Sean. What kind of skills do you have? Jacob, you're welcome. Thank you for being part of the program. All right. My Zoom folks. Man, there's still 28 of you in YouTube. 29 of you in YouTube. I love you guys. All right, let's go back to Zoom. All right, chat window. All right. I'm just scrolling up here. Alexander. How do you find a good realtor? What should I ask, look for in them? Okay, so I talk a lot more about this technique inside the program. It's teaser, okay? No, I'm not just trying to tease you, but it's more in depth, and it takes a while, and it takes me probably about 30 minutes, 45 minutes to actually explain how I build it out, but I don't ever use just one realtor. I would suggest that you strongly look for things on your own first. You can team up with a realtor. You can always fire realtors and jump over to other ones when you're searching, not when you're selling, just when you're searching. And I would focus on realtors that understand areas. So I would pinpoint or identify specific areas that are the zones or the spots that you want to be in and find a realtor that specializes in that area. And an easiest way is asking to see like, hey, what's your portfolio, or take a look at their current listings that they're selling, and see if they're in that general zone. Because every realtor is going to say yes. Yeah, I do that area. Yeah, I can do that. Not everyone, but a lot of them will. But if you look at their listings and they only have a handful of listings and it's the opposite side of town, inside a suburb, I'd probably look somewhere else. You can also look for land realtors. There's land realtors that focus purely on land or large acreages of land or farmland and such. And so if you do a Google search inside your area, your city, you can find stuff like that too. All right, Brian Sanchez. Say, I found a property with land. Okay, we already talked about that, right? Yeah, we talked about that. Should you lease a land in your own name or create an LLC to start? Adrian, I think we talked about this. Man, these are old. Okay. That would be in an LLC. I live in California. I'm former, so should I still search my area? Okay, Gil's asking, living in California. Sucks for this biz. You can still find areas. It does, like I said, it always comes down to money, because if you find the right commercial zone or you find the right zoning district, you can do it. It just generally takes more money. It's tough. You know, if you go up to Northern California, it's going to be a little bit easier, but generally speaking, very generally speaking, because I love California. Don't get me wrong. I love California. It's just the government and the counties are a bit restrictive. I would go outside of California if you don't have a ton of money to start with, and if you're open to moving. All right, Brian Sanchez, again, say I found property land. Wait, did you ask that question a bunch of times, Brian? You did. You spammed my chat window. I'm just kidding. Do you think Mrs. Chen? Okay. What are good banks, places to get HELOCs? I like KeyBank. KeyBank's my favorite, but all banks do. Try and find the ones with the best interest rate, obviously. This is where the financial factors come in, or the financial markers, right? So, man, HELOCs, the interest rates are all over the board. I got a time where my really, really good friend and business partner, he got a HELOC at 5.25%. I got a HELOC at 3%. And it just so happened that my financial markers were they weren't significantly better. He still has a really good credit score and everything. It was just that my financial markers were just really super strong. And so that dictates how much money I can use. And so I can go buy properties, or I can do anything I want to do. It's just like, I literally inside the drawer, you guys can't see it. I have a drawer right here. This is a checkbook, and I just literally write any amount on there. I can buy anything with it. HELOCs are one of the best things that you can have if you're disciplined with your finances. All right, Amy, if you're interested in Puerto Rico, I'd like to chat. I'm not sure if you're talking about me, but Puerto Rico seems really cool. How do you find cleaning crews? Adrian, we talk a lot more about this in the program, but Google, same thing as before. Google and then go through the reviews and then make sure you search for them before you even buy or you find a piece of property. I've had a couple of students who purchased property or started building out properties and didn't plan around the cleaning crews. And then, oh no, there's only 2 cleaning crews in this entire area that are willing to drive out here. And they're 45 minutes away and they charge $125 per hour. Now you're kind of stuck in a hard spot. Okay. Grace Ronquillo. What are the best and worst areas, states, regulation-wise? Which ones are generally more lenient versus strict? Okay, so very generally speaking, anything outside of the city. So areas that are really crowded with a bunch of cities like Florida or smaller states like up in the northeast of the United States, those are going to be tougher. But once you start getting out of the rural lands, the agricultural, the farmland, that's when things open up. In terms of states that are really tough, California, Nevada, sorry, whoever's from Las Vegas, Colorado, Utah a little bit. What's another one? I think those are the biggest ones that are the hardest hitting. And then a couple of the ones like New York and then a couple of ones in the Northeast. But the ones with a lot of land, Texas, Tennessee, Georgia, I almost said Atlanta. South Carolina, North Carolina, those places, muy bueno. Just got to find the right zoning. Okay, are there instances where prefab, I'm outlasting a lot of the viewers in here. A lot of the attendees, I don't blame you. It's been a long time. Okay, are there instances where prefab container homes are a better option? We already answered that, Henry. For land hacking, what is a good payment as incentive for landowners in Southern California? I don't know. You got to talk to them. Every single person is different. Sometimes it's going to be a certain price per acre. Other times it's going to be profit share, revenue share. You come in with money. It could be literally anything and everything. You're going to have to negotiate that and feel that out down there on your own. But I'll tell you this, Henry. Again, I know I'm knocking on I'm hitting on this, knocking on this door, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. A lot is because I truly believe in it. Anything that I echo and I repeat a lot, I'm not repeating it because I ran out of things to say. It's because it's something that I'm really trying to get ingrained in you, okay? Knowledge, skills, and experience speaks volumes. Because let's say that somebody's brand new, not to knock on anybody that's beginners or new. I love you guys. That's why I want to work with you. Is that if you go to a landowner, it's like, hey, I can do this, I want to do this, will you do this? They'll probably say no to you in most cases, okay? Because if you have zero experience, zero skills, zero knowledge, they probably won't. If I go knock on their door and I say, hey, here's my portfolio, I can make you $1 million in the next 3 years, are you interested? They'll probably listen to what I have to say. Okay. Now I'm not trying to boast. That sounded really stupid and arrogant. I'm sorry. But basically what I'm trying to say is that knowledge, skills, and experience speaks volumes because it gets you way more deals. It's the same thing as a resume when people say, hey, we need experience. It's the same thing here. So that's why I'm saying build up that resume, your entrepreneurship resume. So when you need to go and talk to these landowners, you can get it. But there's no formula to saying like, hey, this is what they want. It's typically going to be price per acreage, some sort of lease deal or purchase, but I don't think that you're going to be purchasing it. And then some sort of revenue or profit split. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, what are some hidden costs that people wouldn't think of with geodomes beyond the obvious dome deck? I think you pretty much hit everything, Sinclair. Dome, deck, bed, water tank, compost toilet. Flooring, maybe. The flooring, if you want to build any walls on the inside, if you have to build the bathroom, things like that. That actually takes quite a bit of time. Running power down there, so you have the stub out somewhere close. Yeah, something like that. All right, what are your opinions on pre-made containers home from China? I will not buy anything from China. I've been burnt too many times by poorly built stuff from China, so I don't. I buy almost anything that I can. I try to buy within the States or from Europe. What are your thoughts on theme park style? I haven't seen theme park style glamping. We still got one left, folks. If anybody wants it, it's okay. Somebody's really texting me a lot, or messaging me. Is that okay? I think somebody in here is actually messaging me through my website. So, okay. What's the opinion on pre? So yeah, theme park style. I don't know, but different is better than better. Varun, what's the promo code for the program? Promo code is web125 off. Hopefully to see you in there. Okay, Casey, what's going on? It's who you know. Yep, that's correct. What are the thoughts on Boulder and Denver? Boulder will shut you down. You cannot do it in Boulder. Well, actually, you tell me. From my students, you cannot do it in Boulder, or there's high regulations around it. It does. I used to work. Okay, I love it. If there are any, okay. Link for batch leads only works for ordering a package of the trial that you mentioned. Yeah, Rodrigo, give it a shot. I think most people, I'm getting emails from batch leads that people are signing up for the free trial. Try using Kai as a promo code. If it doesn't, email me, and then I will figure it out for you and make sure that you get a free trial. Grace, how can I start an LLC? Will you be able to recommend a firm? Do I use a title or escrow company? No, just LLC. You just set up, I mean, depending on your state, I guess, but I can literally set up an LLC from here in 15 minutes just through my state. You just got to fill out some forms, put in your information. They might ask you for an articles of incorporation, it'll walk you through it. It'll have a checklist, usually on your state. If not, just Google it, and usually there is a checklist somewhere online for your state, but it's usually like $100 fee, something around that phase. It will give you a registry number or some sort of tax or some state registry number, and then you use that, and then you go over to the IRS, the federal government, and you apply, or you not apply, but you get an EIN number, okay? And that's your tax ID number. Okay, we're getting towards the end here. Just buy the program already. If you're serious, you will get 10x the value. Sean Malarkey. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Sean, by the way, you got to tell me about your, not to blow up your spot, but your little deal that you got going on. Should the LLC be the state you live in or the state that the property in? If it's a holding company, in the state wherever the property is located. And then if you do the rental company, wherever you want to do it, because the rental company can obviously work over state lines, but double check with your CPA and make sure that everything's legit. And if you want to double check and triple check that, then you obviously want to work with a corporate lawyer. All right. One last question in the Q&A, and then I'm going to jump back over to YouTube, and I'm calling it a night because I need to get food. But I'm going to be back on. Hey, everybody, I'm going to be here for the rest of the week, okay? 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. Come in here with your questions. I've got cool topics. I think this was a nice little warm-up topic for us, but I've got some heavy hitters for the rest of the rest of the night, or rest of the week. All right, so Ethan, cash on cash return, gross profits, EBITDA, etc. What are the most important indicators you look at in an investment? Ooh, Ethan, are you a finance person? Are you? Because I like that. Not a lot of people know EBITDA. Okay, I honestly look at cash flow, unlevered free cash flow. If anybody doesn't know what that is, cash flow is basically how much money is going in or out of your bank account. That's really at the end of the day what I care about. When you look at stock markets, you look at businesses, what happens is you get fancy people way smarter than me messing with the finances, and they can put expenses and depreciate things and do all this funny CapEx stuff and move stuff around. At the end of the day, what's the cash flow that's going in and out of the bank account? That's what I care about. The higher the cash flow, the better. A lot of people use that term incorrectly. Okay, aside from cash flow, my number would probably either be EBITDA, which is earnings before interest, taxes, and depreciation and amortization. For everybody out there, just think of basically your profits after all of your expenses, but before taxes, okay, essentially. And I like that number because that's usually what you use to value your business or your company or your cash flow. So for how many people are still in here? The 80 of you that are still in here, I'm gonna give you some like deep secret here. This is part of the program where I'm telling you that it is worth the price, okay? So this is the part where it's worth it. When we look at real estate, traditional real estate, you're looking at property, you're looking at land, equity, cash flows, all this stuff, right? I tell you that, right? No, the house, you can put $50,000 in the kitchen, you make $100,000. That's the stuff. However, in business, there is a real value to cash flows. That's why people like us right now are paying $700 for a share of Tesla. It's because you actually own a piece of Tesla, but more importantly, what you're buying is you're buying a piece of the cash flows. Everything in the stock market, when you figure out valuations, it's around the cash flows, or it should be anyways. The bad companies, you're buying eyeballs or just market read, all that stuff is dumb. You really want the cash flows. With that said, when you have a successful business in land hacking, whether it's a timber, you're harvesting timber, you're farming, you have grazing cattle, you have glamp sites, you have a house, you have an ADU, you have a lake, you have water rights, you have a fishing pond, whatever it is that that's creating money on your property, there is a real value to it, okay? Just because you make $100,000 a year off a property doesn't mean that you just sell it for $100,000, right? If I have a business or you have a business that is making $100,000 a year and it's repeatable and you know it's gonna be making $100,000 a year for at least the next 5 years, I should probably give you more than $100,000 a year, right? And so there's a value to cash flows, and how we analyze deals is that we find the value to that cash flow that we're projecting, and that gives us a whole number, right? That gives us one number, the value of that whole property. And that's what I teach you inside the program. And if you know the value of that whole property, now we know which properties to go after. And now we know how much we should put into each property, because whenever you increase that value, not just the equity, not just the home or the land itself, but the actual cash flows, you increase the value of the whole property, right? So like my friend Cass, for example, the property that she bought is $315,000 2 years ago, right? She's making significantly more money on it. And the equity, the house that she fixed it up, made it really nice. Maybe it's like what, maybe $700,000, maybe. But the cash flows from that business is making the whole property worth probably $2 million plus, because she's just generating so much good business from that area, and she has the right permits and zoning and all that stuff. Okay, does that make sense? So way deeper stuff. That's a quick little intro to it. Ethan, I hope that answers your question. All right, last couple ones here on YouTube. I'm in East Tennessee. Love Tennessee. Zoning is not good for short-term rentals and glamping. Well, that's not good. Trying to get info from the zoning department is like pulling teeth. What resources do you use to make sure you're legal? Oh, yeah, that's tough. Check out my zoning video. I talk all about that. You got to get into the zoning ordinance book. I'll teach, I keep saying back to my program, but this is stuff that I don't have enough time to teach you guys here and answer in like a quick little lightning round Q&A. But I teach you how to talk to the county, how to draft emails and all that stuff so you can get the answers. But right now, even people like me, professionals, pros, investors, it's tough reaching the counties because you guys remember there's a huge backlog of people that were trying to build last year or the year prior, and they couldn't. Everything shut down. And then everything opened up, and hey, guess what? Everybody has a ton of money now. There's a ton of money in the system. And so everybody's trying to build. And then we've got a bunch of people just reaching out to the county. And this last thing for the 80 of you, 75 of you that are still in here, is that you don't want to look at the county as your friend. They're not like a resource center. They're not like a Home Depot. You just call. It's like, hey, where's your best da-da-da-da-da? Or what can I do for this? No, they're not going to answer that. They are like, I want you to treat them like the IRS. They are code enforcers. That's all they are. Now, every once in a while, you'll come across somebody who's really nice, really sweet, who will help you. But once that person hears the same question 10, 15, 20 times over every single day, that's not part of their job. Like, hey, I want to do glamping. Where can I do glamping? Like that type of question that they get a lot. They're going to start getting really short and really mad at you, and they're probably not going to help you. Okay. So you have to be able to prep yourself to go into that situation to extract the information that you want without upsetting the county person, because most of these areas, I'm telling you, there's like 5 people in the office, maybe 6 or 7, and they know you. And you want to be on their good side, especially if you're about to invest in that area. So, yeah, but check with the zoning ordinances and the zoning code book online if you can find it. How do you feel about land in LA? If you can find LA as in like Los Angeles, or LA as like Louisiana. 2 very different areas. All right. When would you suggest setting up an LLC? Any particular time period before you plan on investing through the LLC? Yeah, just before. Just make sure you do it before you make any real money, because it's not retroactive taxes. So you have to have the LLC set up prior to you making money. I'm late. What are we talking about? Ben, you are really late. Jump in if you can tomorrow. We're just wrapping up the Q&A, but I gave everybody some insight on batchleads.io/Kai if you want to use a really cool tool to search for stuff. And then I think, you guys, there's still one seat left if you guys are interested in it. Web 125 off, and then you get a 25-minute consultation session with me after the program too. So anyways, let me see, double check. I can't leave you guys hanging. I just felt too bad last Friday. All right, Griffin, you are very welcome. Alexander, of course. Somewhat. I have a tiny house in Asheville that is a great cash flow. Nice work, Ethan. Okay. But you have me thinking about trying to do something with more equity play next. Yeah, dude, do it. Varun, did you sign up? Maybe the email didn't come through. Huh. Okay, well, there's still a seat left. I'll double check yours, but I didn't get I get messages obviously whenever somebody signs up. I didn't see yours come through, Varun. All right, Adrian, I'll make sure you are aware of copyright laws, even if you do the theme. Say, oh, okay, yeah. All right, everybody, that's it. I think that's it. Everybody, okay, yeah, awesome. All right, so hey, thanks so much, all of you guys in here. I will be sending out another email. I'll try to figure out this YouTube thing so it's not so bad tomorrow. I'm sorry for everybody that got so upset over that. I'm really, really sorry, but you guys can watch me on Zoom. I love you guys all. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Email me if you have questions. And yeah, there's going to be one seat left for anybody who wants to take it. So remember, tomorrow the discount goes down, and then time goes down as well for the consultation. So see you guys tomorrow. Bye.